The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 658. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap-Chan, and today I have an amazing lady on the show today. She is an explorer of consciousness, and I'm really excited to have her on and share her story with us today on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Yee Ley Lau. Yee Ley, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Sure. Thanks, Sheena. Yeah, I call myself an explorer of consciousness. That kind of generalizes my adventures and what I'm doing. But so I'm currently exploring sound healing, and I'm also a facilitator of possibilities.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And what would be your cultural background?
I am British-born Chinese. My parents are from Hong Kong, so pretty much brought up in the UK, but I now live in New Zealand. So I feel kind of like a multicultural person traveling around the world.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Yee Ley, what's your favorite self-confidence quote?
For me, it's like choose what makes your heart sing. And that will be different for everyone. So that's my favorite go-to thing is, choose what makes your heart sing. Whether that's listening to your favorite music, going for a walk, or perhaps going to yoga, whatever makes your heart sing. So that really helps fuel that fire in the belly and makes you feel more confident.
Thanks for sharing that. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
Well, for me, as I've been exploring my life and journey, self-confidence is where I'm realizing that I can be me without any apologies. And it's just what if you can choose to be you in any moment? And we have this infinite amount of choices. We can choose to be like the mother or the partner or the girlfriend or the boss. And it's like, what if you can choose to be you in those roles? So rather than defining yourself as one particular role, that's it. You're an entrepreneur and that's it. But what if you could be totally design how that is for you in that moment? And so you can be you in any different situation. And so what if that is about being confident with your choice without any apologies and without self-judgment? I think that's the biggest thing a lot of people have, is self-judgment. It's like, oh, I'm not doing the best I can be in this role. And it's like, well, what if you can just choose again? So that's what self-confidence is for me.
Thanks for sharing that great quote. And I think, especially as women, as Asian women, we all feel that way, right? We're not good enough. We can't be our true selves. Not realizing we can when we make that decision, right? And it's not always easy. It can be challenging, but it's totally worth it. So, I really love that definition that you mentioned. And, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
Oh my gosh, it was pretty much non-existent. I didn't realize, but as a young child, I had low self-esteem and just no idea of who I was or was able to receive compliments or even have conversations. And I just remember as a kid, even the neighbor who came to visit paid a compliment about my long, straight black hair. And I just wanted the floor to just open up and swallow me up. It was just like, oh my God, I couldn't handle receiving people because I just wasn't, I guess, trained, if that makes sense, or used to people interactions as a young child. So that kind of really affected me as a young adult. And so speaking up in meetings was quite different. But I guess that's a kind of typical Asian character as well, that subservient type character, and just very good at what I was doing and did what I was told. But inside I was kind of dying and screaming to go, oh my God, I don't want to do this. So yeah, my self-confidence was pretty rock bottom.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's something we all go through, right? We feel like we're trapped in our own body because we can't be our true selves, because we're so focused on trying to be somebody we're not, right? Living for others versus living for ourselves. And it kills us, right? Because we know what we're doing isn't right, but we feel like we have to do it because that's what we've been told to do. But what was that point in your life when you realized, you can be your true self, be your authentic self, and go out there and do something that you love and, have that confidence? What was that aha moment?
The aha moment actually came through in a really strange way. And I had what some people call like a spiritual awakening. But basically it was kind of a traumatic or drastic event that happened in my life that basically forced me to look at how I was living and how I was choosing to live my life. And that spiritual awakening came through as in a form of my relationship ending. And the way it ended was that my boyfriend of 8 years at the time announced that he was gay and he had HIV. And so that was enough of a wedge, as we call it in the British call it, a wedge in your universe to kind of go, oh my goodness. And then that came along with another wedge, a spiritual awakening, where my auntie on that same day had committed suicide. So it really put my emotions and feelings in a real mixed bag. But that was enough to question, oh my gosh, who am I? Who am I? What is life about? What is life about when kind people are just taking their own lives, and my problems aren't that bad, and all these types of questions. So the silver lining in that spiritual awakening, or that wedge in my universe, was that I didn't realize how stressed I was. And then thankfully the workplace I had was really supportive, and they put me through some therapy, but it didn't quite work. So I actually joined the gym just to distract myself. And it was there that I came across Reiki, which is an energy healing. And that aha moment was that better was possible, and that this weird stuff that never came into I didn't know what was before, this energy medicine, which is now what I do, really just gave me hope in my life, and that there is another possibility, and that better was available, and it empowered me to actually step and lead my life. And that's where I started learning things about you are the creator of your reality. So that aha moment was kind of served as a dramatic event, but then actually realizing I'm the driver of my life, I can lead my life. And so that's kind of that flip point that happened in 2008.
Thanks for sharing that. And, it's crazy what you had to go through, right? I mean, sometimes these unfortunate things happen, but there's also a reason as to why they happen. And, I like what you mentioned, better is possible, right? I think we forget to realize there's always something better out there, because we always think of the most worst case scenarios or the most negative, events that can happen to us. And people don't realize the more we think, what we attract, right? So when we change the way we say things to ourselves, like better is possible, then we start attracting the right things into our life, right? And, because of your realizations and what you've been through, what's your life been like now?
Oh my gosh, like you said, well, my world feels like it's full of possibilities, and I feel like I said before, it's like I feel like I'm actually leading my life and choosing my choices, and also being very aware, which I say the explorer of consciousness. Consciousness for me is awareness, just being totally more aware of the choices I have been making and currently making, but able to go, oh, well, that's cool. I'm choosing this, and it's creating that. Is it working for me? Things have just come to me more easily in the way of job opportunities, inspiring friends, and awesome collaborations, and just so on. It's just things are coming to me rather than feel like an effort that you have to go and work hard for it. And it just feels way more adventurous, and I actually feel like I'm actually living my life. And it is that, like you said, that dialogue. We don't realize how conclusive and restrictive our language is, and it felt like I had to reprogram my language from, oh, it can't get any better than that, to, well, that's your lot. There's a lot of people saying, well, that's it, that's your life, and that's how it is what it is. Whereas this new languaging I've been learning, it's actually turning it on its head and going, well, what else is possible here? What will be better? What will create better? How does it get any better than that is a common one I've been asking, which is one of the tools of Access Consciousness. So it is changing the languaging to create better possibilities, and it's endless, and that's it. You don't go, okay, that's it, that's my lot. It's like, oh, well, what else can I do? What else can I explore? So which is why I've gone from the Reiki healing, energy healing, to now sound is my thing that gives me joy and makes my heart sing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
I would say that strengthen that muscle of choosing for you without losing you in the equation. And it could be the simplest things, like if you're going out for a coffee with friends and you're going, well, okay, the person's going, I want to go to this coffee shop. You're like, well, actually, I quite like this coffee shop. And it's just kind of working out. Does the choice, especially involving others, that's the difficult part, right? You're trying to tend to please others with your choice. And just kind of the smallest things, from I will have coffee or tea, or instead of copying your friends, what would you actually choose? And just strengthen that muscle for choosing you without losing you in the question. Go, well, actually, I didn't want coffee. I hate coffee. That kind of stuff. So that I'd say that. And then once you get used to choosing for you, the bigger, so-called quote unquote, bigger choices will become easier. And then you can spot when you are choosing for you or you're just choosing it to please other people or even because it's the right thing or you have to do that because that's the way to do it. Does that make sense?
Totally. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, I think as women, especially Asian women, it's really hard for us to make our own decisions, right? I mean, we've been brought up being told what to do. And sometimes we feel like when we make our own decisions, we always make the wrong ones. But, the more, like you mentioned, we practice making our own decisions, the better we get at it. Because whatever we do something for the first time, it's not going to be great. It's going to suck a lot. But with practice, it gets better. So, I totally love the tip that you mentioned. And, Yee Ley, if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, I have a website which is yeeleylau.com. It's YEELEYLAU.com, and that same name on Instagram and Facebook. So I offer one-on-one sessions online as well as workshops currently in New Zealand, but been asked to go to the States and Hong Kong. So who knows where else?
Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Yee Ley, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Yee Ley's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Yee Ley for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Yee Ley.
Thank you, Sheena. You're always welcome.
Thanks again. Really appreciate having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Get your free audiobook by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.